all, welcome to another electrifying episode of the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder from NEC Code, coming to you live from the Mile High City in Denver, Colorado, joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stalkup over there in Hook'em Horns, Longhorn Country, giving old Hook'em Horns for the Mile High City, and really awesome, James. We're getting so much attention. I've had so many people reach out to me and just say how much they love this podcast, what we're doing. And it just means a lot. Thanks so much for reaching out and just telling us how much you like what we're doing and all the different cool segments we have. And here's the Shark coming up in here. What's up, DJ85? What's up, Daniel?
Screw you, DJ.
Yeah. Little
fucking crap to me Monday. Hurt my feelings.
Put some respect on that Broncos defense. Oh, we got David Engelhardt. Good evening, David. Great to see you, man. Appreciate
As you will see, September's loaded. October will be probably tomorrow. I'm doing the calculation problems on it right now. Then I'm going to get November ready this weekend. Everything will be caught up, so I'm happy.
Nice. All right. And, yeah, Daniel, it is a good time to remind everyone that the Dallas Cowboys lost by 20 points to the Denver Broncos for 31 years that they've lost at Mile High in our home. So, man, they just get a little winded up here.
They just have a hard time functioning up there in the light air. That's all it was. When y'all come down to our place, we're going to kick that ass. It's okay.
Oh, dude. Yeah, awesome, David. Yeah, David's pretty much a shoe-in to win it. But I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna have to catch up. I have a few to catch up. So.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll give you a little hint. September, gonna be all in chapter 4. October, you're gonna be in chapter 5, and then November, you'll be in chapter 6. So,
right.
And I'm gonna tell you, they ain't easy.
Yeah.
Y'all got to actually look unless you just freaking know.
Yeah. So one of the things that I wanted to do, we have our Thursday night game. I believe it's Baltimore in Miami tonight.
I'll take Baltimore.
And I don't know, man. I they got Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, so I just traded that stack in Dynasty. It's a good stack to have, but it just hasn't been doing that great. And I've been picking up some Dolphins, so I'm actually going to go with the upset. I'll take the Dolphins tonight.
Well, I went with the upset the other night and got shellackled, so.
Yeah, true. That's true. All right. Well, me and Daniel are always getting shellackled by the, picking the upset, but you're always copying Daniel, so we'll see what's up. But this week we have a really good audio clip. It's from Ryan Jackson, and dude, David's going with the Fins. So there was a lot of controversy in 2026 on 210.70A2, I believe, but it's pretty cool. I mean, Ryan does a good job covering it, but it just goes to show how these guys, they like to jump on both sides of the fence all the time, and it's kind of funny. I think you'll find it comical, so let's go ahead and roll the audio.
They took out this language, which I think is good. Switches or a wall-mounted control device must not rely on a battery, unless the loss of battery power energizes the lighting outlet. This was a big debate, right? And they talk about much ado about nothing. But when this battery dies, should the lights turn on or should the lights turn off? On one side, you said, hey, if the battery goes dead, we got to have lights, right? You got to see what's going on. But then it's well, wait a minute. This isn't, we're talking about a house here. We don't need emergency lighting. It's not like it's a massive arena or something where if the lights go out, people could die, and not find the exits. It's a house. You can't find your way out of the bedroom in the dark. I mean, come on. You also had the the installation community, right? The labor community saying, listen, we don't want this thing turning on by itself. Because what if we're changing the light and it's off, and we're in the middle of changing the light and all of a sudden it turns on and we get shocked?
So,
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, to me right away, I don't even see how that's possible. If you isolate that circuit and you lock it out and tag it out like you're supposed to, there's no way that can turn on you while you're working on it.
See, this is the problem right here. They go in and they inject their own sense of what they want it to say. Okay.
Yeah, and it's all hypothetical.
Yeah, but see, this goes back to what I've been saying for years now on this podcast. These guys come on here, they start making all these statements saying, "Oh, there's a huge argument." No, there's no huge argument. What the argument is, and I've said this over and over, you got people there on these code making panels that shouldn't be on these code making panels because they don't know what they're doing. And they get put on there by these association organizations, and then there's supposedly like some expert because they went on there. If they knew how to apply the OSHA regulations and the 70 regulations, this is a non-issue. And that's why there's so much referral in the NFPA 70 document now, and it refers to all these other NFPA standards, UL, and all this other stuff. And that's why we spend so much time on this podcast going through all these other regulations and stuff and showing you the direct correlation. So this is just another example of Ryan Jackson speaking about something that he doesn't know what he's talking about. If he knew to apply the other standards, he wouldn't even make this comment.
Yeah, and to your point too, James, I know you made this point a long time ago that there's no special experts on these code panels anymore. Like a lot of times if they had these special experts on there, they'd be like, wait a minute, why is this language even in here in the first place? You know, this is ridiculous. So
that is exactly correct, and that's why I believe they went to remove special experts. But they do allow them on the your other NFPA standards, just not the National Electrical Code. Isn't that very interesting that we're allowed to be on these other standards, but not the National Electrical Code?
True. Yeah.
Now, why would that be? That's what you need to ask yourself.
True.
Okay, go ahead.
100%.
Well, the argument to that was, well, you're supposed to use lockout, tagout. You should have shut off the breaker, locked out the breaker, verified absence of power, check your meter on a known voltage source, live test. Okay, we all know that the breaker should be locked. We know that, right? Let's just be realistic here. I think in residential, a lot of people are going to turn off the switch and rely on the switch as the disconnecting means, and maybe put a piece of tape over it.
This goes back to another thing I was talking about, and Jeremy, he would say, oh, well, OSHA doesn't enforce residential. No, they don't go out and enforce residential. But if you have a contractor out there, it's not just a sole individual. We discussed this before. And something happened. If OSHA wanted to go out there, guess what? They have the right to do that. And the reason is because anybody that's working on any type of circuits, you have to apply OSHA regulations. And it doesn't specify just commercial industrial. It says energize electrical work. That's it.
Yeah.
So I just want to clarify that.
I mean, that's an incorrect lockout tagout if you're putting a piece of tape on a switch. So
sure, you know, and I'll give everybody an example. Back when I was started, I remember I went out and I was working out on a job, and so the older electricians remember this, and it actually used to be in the code. What was one of the ways you used to could lock and tag out? Remember?
Electrical tape, probably.
No, you use a key and lock the panel board. Remember, everybody had a freaking key. Well, I was up working on, I was on a boom. I had one of those high intensity discharge lighting fixtures up there. It was a big one, and I got it down and I put the stem on, pigtailed everything. Then I tied it up with some number 10, got it real up there, and so I could get to it and terminate everything. And I turned it off, everything. Well, guess what? Some supervisor on duty, they couldn't see in this one little area over in a corner. So he went and got a key from somebody, turned it back on, and it's 277-volt circuit, and it's pulling all that amperage. I went and touched it, and to this day, right here in this finger and my thumb, I have callus there for where that current went in and out. And the only thing that saved my life is my weight pulled me off of it, because I was reaching up and I fell down in the bucket. And then they saw us down, so they got me down, and they took me over first aid and everything, checking me out. I mean, I was woozy, boy. I mean, it really popped me. Yeah. And I was like, what the hell happened, man? And they told me, oh, well, they've already done some checking, and they found out a supervisor got a key from somebody, turned it on when he wasn't supposed to. And my only comment was, where is he? Because I was going to whoop his rear end. I was upset, and they said, he's already been fired. You were not supposed to do that. And so I remember back in the day when it was code, you used a key to lock the pedal board. It actually mentioned it, you know.
Yeah. Well, and then at that point in time, what I remember too is that you could tag it out. So you could just shut the breaker off and then put the tag on the breaker. You didn't actually have to have a lockout device.
Well, they didn't. The ones back in, they didn't have the hole in the breaker. Yeah. So you couldn't do it. And what I did is I put on the wire and it slipped down. You know, it was the only way I could tag it. It's just things you ran into back then, you know, and it just, I mean.
Well, another thing I want to add to this that we've already covered too is a lot of these guys that are trying to like talk as like code experts don't have the field experience like we do. And we've been out there and we've seen it in the field, and we can avoid some of these mistakes. And we don't need the code to avert these mistakes, because we have so much experience out here, guys like us, that we know, like, hey, you know, if you're applying all the standards correctly, you don't need to change NFPA 70. So that's where I think they've kind of like lost track. And one of the things you'll notice in this too, James, is that he'll say, we changed this and we changed that and we changed this, but then this is like they changed this and they changed that. It's when it's on the other side of the fence. It's not weed anymore. It's they.
You know, and it's interesting because you go in and look, after that happened, you know what I started doing? I started taking the conductor off and bending it back in the panel board, you know, make them fine. But when we do 70E, you know, and I'm talking about different things, and I talk about applying additional safety measures, that's another additional safety measure. And we bring things up like that when you're dealing with 70E, and you can apply only a tag only. That's the only option you got. There's additional safety measures you need to take. And that's why it's really good. You know, it's funny we're talking about this because I just sent over yesterday the 70 PDF for them to get ready to print for the new 70 publication we just did. Nice. And we get in and we actually talk in that 70 publication of looking at all those things. And then we also go in and we talk about additional energy sources that could be present, where you could have mechanical, pneumatic radiation, all kinds of stuff, ionizing radiation, and all of that.
They're doing a lot of that, like inverter backup and UPS backup now. A lot of these like data centers and stuff have all this kind of like, you know, you have to like warn people that there's multiple sources of power and stuff. So we'll just keep going.
I'm gonna go one more thing on that real quick. And to give everybody a good example, the reason we know these type of things, and we deal with this all the time, because like Dad and I, we updated the safety manual for the Department of Energy and Defense. Right now, we're looking at, well, if everything goes right, we're going to be looking at Amazon's and going through theirs. So, you know, Jeremy, you know, he says, oh, you're no expert. Well, maybe not, but I'm just telling you, we deal with these different things all the time. And Amazon has taken about the last 5 years, and they have literally gone in and documented all of their safety that were incidents that have happened. And they're looking at it, and they're going in, and now they're questioning some of the likelihood of occurrence that's in the 70 document, which Dad and I are going to look at and probably make recommendations for a few changes that are backed up by the data that they're providing to us. So that's nice. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. All right. we'll keep going here.
I'm not saying that's what you should do. I'm just saying that's what a lot of people choose to do, right? So the people were saying, well, what if it turns on while you're working out? What are the odds of that happening? 1 in a million? I mean, come on. So we just said, you know what? There's not a perfect answer.
Oh, now
if we say the battery should fail on, people are going to be upset. If we say the battery should fail off, people are going to be upset. So let's just not even touch the issue. And I think that was probably the right move. The control device or switch must be located near an entrance to the room. We never cared about switch location. That was always a design issue, right? Not a safety issue, but a design issue. I don't care if your light switch is close to the door, 30 feet away from the door. I don't care. I don't care if it's in your attic, right? Where you put your switch is your problem. Until we allowed wireless control devices. Because think about it. What would stop a person from not having any switches in their house and just have one wireless control device, and maybe you name it Alexa or something like that, and you mount it like in your living room, and that's the only place to control any lights in the house? I mean, I know that's kind of a dumb design, but people would do it, right? There are people who will follow the absolute minimum code to save a couple of bucks.
So that's what's really funny, is this is replicated throughout the whole entire NFPA 70E when it comes to these guys complaining about stuff that they can't get past because people want to just follow the minimum code and save money, and they don't like that. And it's really funny to hear him say that, because they're admitting that it's like, oh we do that, and it's just funny.
I got a question. Is he saying that all the fixtures and everything, that's where the control device is mounted?
So what he's talking about, I actually installed one of these systems before. It's called a Lutron V-Bay. And basically what it is you install a central hub, and then you just have like Pico switches. And then these Pico switches, they're peel and stick. You can just put them wherever you want. And you don't even need light switches. But
okay, I hadn't seen those before.
They're trying to drive this whole thing like we actually did a building where they didn't have any switches. They did not want any switches in the building at all. And the code couldn't tell them they had to have them. If this is like Apple's house, then they have to have switches, but And that's what came back for 2026. They actually came back with, that's one of the changes that came back, was they added switches. So that's kind of what he's referring to. But to me, I think it's still overreach of NFPA 70.
So when they added the allowance for wireless control devices, we had to specify a location. So we want it to be near an entrance to the room. Okay. In other than kitchens, laundry areas, and bathrooms, receptacles that are controlled by a listed wall-mounted device or switch are allowed instead of lighting outlets. So yeah, you can still use switched receptacles, right? But you can't use a switched receptacle in lieu of lighting in the kitchen, laundry, or bathroom. In the living room, like we have in the picture, in a bedroom, be my guest. Switch receptacles, plug in a lamp, you're good. We also have exception number 2. Occupancy sensors installed at a customary wall switch location may control the lighting outlets as long as they have a manual override setting. Okay, so we use occupancy sensors mainly in commercial, right? And in commercial, we usually put them on the lid, right? So they can kind of see the whole room. Well, in residential, you can use occupancy sensors, but we don't want them up on the ceiling. They got to be at a customary wall switch location, all right? Because maybe I like occupancy sensors, but once I sell my house, the next person that buys it, maybe they hate occupancy sensors, and they're going to replace it with a regular switch or some other sort of control device. So we need to have it at a customary wall switch location, and you have to be able to disable the occupancy sensor switch on it.
So one of the things I'm going to mention here, and I think it's kind of funny because the only reason that I know about this is because of my experience. They have 2 styles there's 2 different kinds of control devices that you can use. You can use occupancy sensors, or you could use vacancy sensors. So the reason I'm doing this, because I was just telling my apprentice about this, and we did like it was kind of like a medical building, and some of the rooms they wanted vacancy sensors, and some of the rooms they wanted occupancy sensors. Well, I thought this was ridiculous. I'm like, why would you want different control devices? And so in this case, I don't see why in these houses you couldn't have a vacancy sensor. So the way the vacancy sensor works is you have a momentary contact switch where when you come in the room, you click the switch, it turns the lights on. Now, what happens is you don't have to turn the lights back off. You just exit the room, and that vacancy sensor senses that there's no motion and it shuts the lights off. That's a vacancy sensor. Occupancy sensor is when you walk in, it senses motion, it turns on. You don't have to touch any switch or anything like that. It just automatically turns on, automatically turns off. So there's two different kinds of things. Well, what would be the reason in this medical facility why you would want vacancy sensor versus occupancy sensor? Because here's all these doctors and they're running around with their hands like this and they don't want to touch a switch. So why would we as electricians be like, no, you have to have a vacancy sensor? Well, it comes into energy management. And what happens is they don't want lights to just stay on all the time. And they had a problem because they had windows where people were walking by. So they were worried about when people walk by, them accidentally turning the lights on. That's why they spec'd vacancy sensors so that you had to push a switch to turn the lights on, and then once it sensed motion, the lights shut off. Now, there's a chance that it could sense motion, during while the time it's on, and it'll stay on a prolonged period of time, but it was just a better design. So that's the one thing I thought was funny. Ryan didn't mention vacancy sensors because the occupancy sensor and vacancy sensor, it's the exact sensor. It's the exact same sensor that's mounted on the ceiling in commercial, but one has a control device and the other one does not. So
I want to disagree with all this.
What's
because that? When I look at this, I'm going to go to 210.70A1 to start this whole thing off. And
okay.
And it tells you there, when you get into these habitable rooms, your kitchen, laundry rooms, bathrooms, you're required to have at least one lighting outlet, and it is required to be controlled by a wall switch or a listed wall-mounted control device.
Sure.
There's no argument about this. And then when this is why I'm arguing this. And then after you get that, then you go over and you tie it in with 404.5A, and that's where it gets in and tells you that it's required to be mounted in an enclosure.
True.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is why I'm going to argue. He can sit there and say you can do this and have it. That's fine. I've dealt with this. I dealt with a system before. It's called Crestron. And when they were out there, my ex-father-in-law had a lake house, and everything out there is controlled through that Crestron. And they had a main frame over here, but they had sensors and everything at each one of those locations, so you could control it through the iPad, or you controlled it as you went in the room. And when they were first looking at it, they were saying, well, we can put this over here and control it. And I said, well, what if somebody comes here and wants to turn on the light at night? They don't have the iPad with them. They had 2 iPads in the house. And I said, or you wake up and you want to go to the bathroom, you can't turn on the light. I said, I don't agree with this. And they said, well, we can put occupancy sensors on there and like, what'd you call it, a visibility sensor or whatever, that it could. I said, no. I said, the code specifically states that you got to have some type of switch there for somebody. And that's where I'm arguing this, and I'm not agreeing with what anybody or any of these manufacturers are saying. You got to put a switch in there somewhere.
True.
And that's why I was asking, are they controlling it at the lighting fixture? Because I hadn't seen those yet.
Dude, I'm telling you, I nerded out on that Viva. Like, dude, it was so awesome. Like, I had like daylight control. I had like so much control, and it was all in my phone. So I could sit there and turn lights off and on. Like, I'd have to have internet connection to the hub, but like if I had internet connection to the hub, I could sit there. I could turn all lights off in the building in one shot.
Sure.
You know,
I
could
went
turn 'em
into
off.
a house that had occupancy sensors, and all you did is you were walking in, you just swipe your hand over it. I've seen those. He just walked in, swipe hand, the lights come on. But there was some type of device there in order for them to have access, turn those lights on. I have not heard of, I've never been in a building or anything where they didn't have some type of sensor or something where they could turn it on, that everything, there wasn't any switches anywhere. I've never seen that.
Yeah, I mean, you could pretty much do everything. So like it's kind of contrary to like what you're thinking. So like as long as you have the Lutron Vibe app, you could turn the lights on and off in any room with your phone.
Yeah, but you think the big building, they're not going to give everybody access to that.
Well, you would have to like if they're like so there was certain areas of the building like if you had an office in there, you had access to it. You could turn your lights off and on from your phone to your office. But like so there's different hubs. There's different
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So lights were always on except certain spots, and that was controlled by somebody. Nobody could just go in there and turn anything on. You actually had to be somebody in that.
Yeah, so
Block.
like I had access to all the hubs in the whole building, like for a brief moment, but while I was programming and everything. But like if you're working in like the north section on like the east side or something, then you'd get access to that hub. And then
Okay.
any of those rooms you're going into, you could turn those off and on, dim them, anything with your phone. You could even some of them you could even change colors of the lights.
Okay.
So it was pretty cool, but we'll move on.
We added a new exception here, which I think is a good thing. For laundry areas, the illumination and its control may be located outside of the laundry area if the laundry equipment is in a closet. All right, so if you look back up at the title, this used to say bathrooms, habitable rooms, and kitchens. And then in the 2023 code, we added laundry areas. Well, the laundry area needs illumination, right? It needs a lighting outlet. And you have to have a point of control near the laundry equipment. But what if your laundry equipment is one of these stackable things and it's just in a little closet, right, off the hallway of the house? Do you really need to have a lighting outlet in that closet? And by the way, what would it even do? What good would it do? It's probably going to be above the dryer. You turn it on and it doesn't even illuminate anything. All it would do is just add heat and maybe even be a source of a fire hazard. So we made a nice allowance saying, listen, if you have a little closet for your laundry, who cares? You don't need a light. The hallway illumination is probably going to be good enough. Now, this example that I have here, of course, is not in a closet. It's in a bathroom, or maybe it's in a laundry, or maybe it's both. And therein lies one of the problems here, where we get too specific with the code. Sometimes we paint ourselves into a corner. Can the bathroom lighting outlet serve as the laundry lighting outlet? Give me a break. I got a million problems in my life. This ain't one of them. Come on, I am passing this every time, right? Well, it's not in a closet, Ryan. Come on, sometimes we just need to use our brains a little bit. Does it satisfy what we're trying to do here? We want a light where people are doing the laundry. If you have it, walk away, whether it's in a closet or not. Come on, let's throw these people a bone here. This is obviously safe, and that's what we care about. All right, so there you go. We made it through Article 210. Article 210 is always huge, right? Article 210 is not only one of the largest, but one of the most important articles in the entire code book. And when I'm doing a code change class, when I teach like an 8-hour seminar, I don't think I've ever gotten through Article 210 in less than 1 hour. I mean, there is always so much to talk about. in Article 210, and this year is no exception, right? GFCIs, AFCIs, required receptacles, 210.52, the required lighting outlets in 210.70. There's always a ton to talk about in Article 210, but guess what? We're finished with it now. We're going to jump into Article 225 now.
So, the one thing that I think is funny is how he's like, oh man, the code's getting too specific and painting us into a corner because we said closets. But then you're going to sit there and make outlet like super vague. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Like we tried to make, we went in there, we tried to make it specific and they rejected it. And all we were doing was posting exactly what they said and it got rejected. So,
Yeah.
Pretty funny. But that was my segment of the week. And oh, dude, we had somebody come by.
Broncos country, let's ride. Broncos country, let's ride.
I don't know. Thanks, Russell. Appreciate it, man. Had to
Sounds
get
like
that.
you need to be playing some of that circus music.
Oh, dude, I don't even know if I got it programmed in here yet. So are we gonna go to the meme?
Yep. Let's go ahead and cue it up.
Dude, that one cracked me up because, like, when I first read it, I was like, I didn't read water lemons. And it was crazy.
I did.
And it was crazy because I was like, it goes to show you how when you just, like, read stuff really fast and don't comprehend it, that, you know, that's how you fail exams. So, I thought
It
was
is
really
true.
funny. You know, I thought that was really good.
All right, let's kick it off the myth of the week, brother.
Right on.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
Got a
Alright.
feeling we've already
Where's the
covered
myth
this.
of the?
What's that?
I got a feeling we've already covered this.
This was like one of my apprentices was like saying, "Oh man, that's not like a habitable area, so you don't need it." And they made like a lot of changes. So the reason I wanted to cover this is because what happens is a lot of guys don't keep up with like the latest code. That's why I always put like the 2023 in there, because I'm going off the 2023. But a lot of these guys don't keep up with the latest things, and we had Mike Holt over here. What did Mike Holt say?
Where's the myth of the week?
Oh, we're doing it right now, Mike. Yeah, we're doing it right now. All right. So what happens is they don't keep up with the latest codes, and there is actually something in there that says a detached garage when you have like an exit egress door. This garage has electric power supplied to it, then you are required to have exterior illumination. And so this is kind of a good code. Like, if it wasn't code, would I have exterior illumination on my garage? Hell yeah, I think it's cool. I like being able to see when I leave from the inside of my garage, or when I leave in the morning. I have like it all set up on motion sensor.
Yeah, me too.
with a switch and everything, you know. So like if I don't want it to go on, I could turn the switch off. If I do, but the whole thing is like that actually complies with the code. And so here we have 210.70 lighting outlet required, additional locations. You have at least one lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall control device, and I believe in 2026 they say switch now again, which I think that's okay, whatever. And then it says for dwelling units, it says attached garage and detached garage with electric power, at least one exterior lighting outlet controlled by a listed wall-mounted control device shall be installed to provide illumination to the on the exterior side of the outdoor entrances, exits of grade level access. Vehicle door in the garage is not to be considered in outdoor entrance or exit. So that was kind of where I was going a little bit with this myth, because a lot of people think, oh man, if you if you don't have one of these man doors or something, then you would still need one because it has to cover, and that's not true. So that's what kind of why I do the myth of the week like this, to try to kind of get it out there. Like, hey, the code is trying to expand, and it's expanding to like make stuff nicer for us. And
Sure it is.
So stuff like that. And like I say, I know that was kind of a little bit of a weak one, but I kind of wanted to go through this since Ryan was covering it and all these guys were covering it, and just kind of
Well, it's a good thing we did, because I believe you got to have one there. I don't care what type of new technology's coming out. You got to have access to get in and out. I mean, you got to be able to turn the lights on. And what if you're in the bedroom, you left your phone or you left the iPad in the other room, and now you can't turn it on, you're walking through the dark and everything. That's why you have light there, so you can control something. That's why I was saying, go read the sections. It tells you need one.
Dude, me and James are old school, man. You just put in a dang switch, man. Who cares?
Put in a switch. Quit freaking arguing with us.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, you'll get into your topic now?
Yep. Let's get her done.
You always know I have to bring this along just for Daniel. Just for Daniel.
Gotta have the circus music.
Yeah, I got it in there.
Well, folks, we're going to finish chapter 5 today. So, what they did, they made a revision here, and this is getting into your reconditioned equipment. All they did is they relocated a couple of things here, because it was spread throughout, because you're getting into different types of equipment. So they had this where it was previously included where it was under patient care related electrical equipment. So to be consistent with all the other articles that were there, they moved it to 517.3, and then they added the things they wanted you to look at here. So basically, they're just telling you here, you got patient care related electrical equipment. They're telling you here that it can be reconditioned, but in order to look at recondition, you also need to look at other sections of the code as well as where it's permitted.
True.
Okay, because you're getting into specialized equipment. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, you're going to see they've added quite a few different new sections that are about to pop up, or new subsections in Article 517 dealing with healthcare. And this new section that they added, this was to help address any additional sources. Okay, so these are additional sources that are in addition to the off-site utility-powered electrical service. Okay, and all they're letting you know here is that these systems have the capacity and rating that can meet the maximum actual demand. Okay, so what that means is this is what is likely to be produced by the connected load on the system. So you got all these additional sources, and they come in and they tell you that here's your different sources that you can have. You got power production source, fuel cell systems, energy storage systems, and healthcare microgrids. And then they talk about the capacity of the systems. And you go over and look in Article 120, you know how we go in and we take a historical data and demand factors and determine if we need to increase. That's what they're getting to. And then you get into your connected loads and the different types of feeder calculations. Okay.
Sure.
So basically, they're just making sure that you determine here the demand calculations when you're sizing these type of systems, and it's based on these type of demands that are here. And it could be one or it can be all three of them, but you got to look at them all.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, you've heard me say this so many freaking times that you have to go in and you got to look at all your other different NFPA standards a lot of times. Well, what they did here, this is where they're going to clarify and talk about the risk category assignments. So they added this new section with these category assignments from NFPA 499.
Gotcha.
Okay. And when you go in and you look at NFPA 499, what does 499 deal with? And this is where I tell you, you got to think about stuff, because this is where you get into hazardous.
Okay.
And that's where we deal with our dust and stuff.
Oh, okay.
That's why I tell you have to look at these things. So they tell you here, all activity as well as systems or equipment that are new or altered shall be designed and installed to meet Category 1 through Category 4 requirements. And then they tell you go look at NFPA 499. In other words, they want to make sure that these types of equipment are basically going to be dust free.
Yeah.
That's what you're getting into. Okay.
100%, yeah.
Then this is not a big one in my opinion, but it's a clarification here where they're dealing, where you got your equipment grounding conductor for your receptacles and your fixed electrical equipment, where you're in these patient care spaces. And this helps clarify this additional language here that the equipment grounding systems and all of its potential components that are listed here, your metallic outlet boxes, device boxes, junction boxes, fittings, and other wiring enclosures are what? Grounded.
Common. Yeah, they're common.
Yeah.
That's what I call it. They're like,
Common.
you just want to make everything common.
Right.
It's not redundant. Your wire type and your metal electrical parts are common at every point.
Sure. Now, this was inadvertently removed from 517.26 in the last cycle, and they modified this section to help clarify here and identify that Article 700 does not apply to healthcare facilities. Okay,
Right.
And when you look at this, they get in and they talk about your different signs for your on-site sources, and they just tell you, what do you have to do here? You have to have a sign that's there and it's placed at the service entrance equipment, and this indicates the type and location of each on-site power source.
Right.
Okay. Now, then they give you an exception that says, of course, if it's a battery equipped emergency luminary, you don't need one for that. Then they get into the grounding, and this is just common language we see on a lot of things. It says, where removal of a grounding or bonding connection in a power source equipment interrupts the grounding electroconductor connection to another power source or sources grounded conductor, you got to have what? A warning sign stated there. That warning, shock hazard exists if grounding electroconductor or bonding jumper connection in this equipment is removed while another source is energized. And that signing will, of course, be in compliance with 110.21B. And if you're putting a warning there, 110.21B just says that warning has to be in orange. Okay.
Right. All right.
Then they have the life safety branch, and this is where you get into the illumination and means of egress. So they added this new subsection to clarify that the switching arrangement to the transfer patient corridor lighting in your hospitals, this is different from the general illumination to night illumination circuits. Okay. So when you've got this illumination and we're dealing with this means of egress here, this is permitted if only one of two branch circuits can be selected, and both circuits cannot be extinguished at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, so it's in other words, they're just making sure the circuit everybody recognizes it. Basically, is what it's getting down to.
True.
Now, that's all for 517. Now we're going to get in and we're going to be looking at the agriculture, and all they did here is, and if you go over and look like in pools, you'll sort of get the same type of thing here. But this
they just wanted to make it like correlate with.
Yeah,
everything.
And you look, you'll see it comes over, gets the non-conductive surfaces too. But what they did is they added this subsection here, and what this was to help clarify is the equipotential plane construction, where you're using the structural reinforcing steel and copper grids here. Okay, and then your non-conductive surfaces. So they're just saying, yeah, we can do this, but you go back and you look, you see the exact same thing here. If I'm using copper, what size is it? Number 8.
Oh, yeah.
And then if I have arrangement where I have a network of conductors and I'm going to uniformly space them in a perpendicular grid pattern, they tell you they're arranged 12 by 12, and then you have a grid parents with a tolerance of what? 4 inches.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get the same thing. That's what I'm saying. They're making sure they're getting more consistent with these grounding paths and everything, where they're creating these equipotential planes.
True.
Okay.
Nice.
Then they added a new section here, and all this is to do is to help clarify where you have this outdoor electrical equipment, that it shall be listed for wet locations or outdoor use. Okay.
Yeah. So what is 550? Is that temporary?
No. 550 is dealing with mobile homes.
Oh, gotcha. I can remember. Yeah, 551. So
That deals with recreational vehicles that
Okay.
we'll get into here in just a little bit. And
Okay.
we got awesome freaking illustrations showing you all this stuff.
Nice.
So this is where you have a replacement home, and it's dealing with your service equipment. So what they did, they added a new subsection here to help clarify that the replacement of an existing mobile or manufactured home, they're going to require a surge protected device at the service disconnect. Okay.
Right.
And basically they're doing the same thing that they did for dwelling units, requiring the same type of protection in place, and having these life safety signaling devices in place there, even when you come in and you put a replacement home there at a mobile home.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically they only had like a couple per, like a few per 550, a few per 551.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was just a few on them, and matter of fact, that I think there's just 2 more I got to do, and I'm done with this thing.
All right.
So this is where you get in your certain. Now this is where you're getting into your recreational vehicles, and what they did here, they made a revision to clarify the requirements for labeling of your field inverters. That's all this is right here.
Okay.
And what happened was there was actually, you've heard me say this many times. It's like when you deal with 210.8F, I said they never provided the technical merit, right, to do it. Well, and they actually had recent field incidents where they documented this, and due to this, it had resulted in electrical shock to these guys, these technicians that were servicing these RVs. Okay. So there was something in place why they need to look at this. So what they did, they said, well, what we need to do is put a label here that will alert the service technician that although they may take and go and unplug the vehicle, due to these inverters, electrical hazards still may be present.
Well, let me tell you something, James. I don't need data. I don't need the data.
I know.
Just kidding.
But you'll have a warning that's right there that's telling you what the warning will say. And then they tell you, you got a signal word warning. Of course, that'll be in orange and blah, 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 and go look at 11021B, but they're telling you that the letters have to be at least a 1/4 inch and the main body text has to be 1/8 of an inch.
Right.
Okay. So that was a big change there that I think they needed. Then they did another one here where they get in and it's setting up for the pre-wiring of the inverter installation.
Right.
Okay. And you're going to see they got the exact same requirements here. Okay. And both of these have to deal with the inverter. So all they wanted to do was put this subsection in to make absolutely sure that the owners and service technicians notice that the RV is pre-wired for the installation of an inverter.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
So, and
I do actually have a.
I got one more. Now, this one.
That's marinas and boatyards, isn't it?
Yeah, but I want to show you. See, it goes right through the non-conductive service, the copper grid, and everything, just like we just looked at. So they're even telling you here where you get in these marinas and stuff, they get into the equipotential planes and bonding of equipotential planes. And then, of course, they got a few rules here. These conditions exist that the system voltage exceeds 250 volts to ground and the equipment is located within 10 foot of the body of water. And then you start looking, you got your equipotential plane construction, and look here, structural reinforcing steel, copper grid, come down, unencapsulated welded wire, and non-conductive services. Well, if I go back right there, non-conductive surfaces, structural reinforcing steel, copper grid, and unencapsulated welded wire.
Yeah, they did.
Same change.
They did a lot of copy and paste on a lot of stuff, I noticed.
Yeah, but, it's in there now so everybody can look. And I like to say, if you get one of these sections down, you're going to know the rest. Okay?
Oh, crap. Mark Andrews touchdown. Baltimore's up 14-3.
Yep, Woo. That's who I took.
Oh, man.
All right, and that's get you through
we can make the products. No one's going to buy them because they'll probably be more expensive. And if you put them in the code, states don't adopt.
I don't know. No. I don't know what to say, Tommy, but if you don't have technical merit, what happens, James?
Just put it in and then tell them they
got to
do
the products.
No
one's going to buy them because they'll probably be more expensive. And if you put them in the code, states don't adopt.
Yeah, the reason the states aren't adopting is because there's no technical merit to make the change in the first place. So
that's right.
Maybe we can work on
All right.
But
we're doing pretty good tonight. Let's go to Tool of the Week and get that, and then we'll get into the Willie Quiz.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by Electricians Only Tool Review and Nipex Tradesman.
Yeah, so the one thing that I want to mention is this tool is not actually available yet. It's still... It's because it's so compact and everything. I think it's going to be coming out in like the next couple of months. It's just in time for Christmas. The one thing I wanted to mention, James, is you might want to post up your merchandise. If you still have merchandise up there so people could get their high voltage live merchandise in time for Christmas. But
okay.
I'm getting a high voltage mug myself because I really need a high voltage mug. But I like the High Voltage Live Show. It's really cool. This is really cool. A lot of times when in the past, I've heard people say, "Oh man, electricians don't use grinders," da-da-da-da-da. And I've actually found a lot of use for these in previous. I actually carry a grinder on my truck. It's not a DeWalt. It's not this model. But I actually have a grinder on my truck, and I use it quite a bit for different kinds of applications, Like I say, most of the time I'll use a Sawzall or a bandsaw, but there's times where I need a grinder. And, so that's one of the things that's kind of cool about this. And when they started talking about, like, the design specifics of this, putting like a cutting wheel in there. There's so much cool stuff you could do with this, and a lot of times what we run into is you have like different kinds of situations where you can't get a bandsaw in there, can't get a sawzall in there, but you could get this grinder in there. So that's kind of one of those situations, and like I say, when I saw it, I was like, oh man, this is cool. Really like to add this to my collection of tools. When it comes out, I think it's coming out really soon. Like they said coming soon, but I would say probably by like the middle of November, probably to the end of November, they'll have this out. And it's really super compact. It can get in really tight spaces, and you can use I think it's like a 4 to 4.5 inch wheel on it. So that even makes it nicer because you could get in even closer and you could do a lot of precision cuts. You know, sometimes we've had to like go into some of these tricky situations where we've had to, you know, demo certain equipment, and we've had to like kind of go in there and grind some stuff out of the way so that we don't damage the cable. Then we could pull the cable out of the way. Then we could just bandsaw the rest. You know, so we've had situations where we've had to use this kind of style of grinder to get done what we need to get done without damaging like the fiber optic or whatever cable we're dealing with. So, like I say, this is a really cool tool. I can't wait to see it come out. I'm gonna have to go buy. I bet you it's probably gonna be available by the time I go I go to this specific hardware store to buy my tools. I bet you it's in there right now. So I'm gonna have to go look. But yeah, and Daniel was saying that he had to use a grinder to remove bolts from a panel because someone stripped. Yeah, dude. Yeah. And that's hard too, man. Like, and then you have to figure out how to get them back in. But yeah, like, I don't know what else he would do in that case. Like, I think a grinder is the only way in that case. You know, just like grind off the heads and pull it off, and then figure out what you're gonna do after that. So, yeah, good point, Daniel. I like that. So I'm gonna start that comment. I'm gonna start it. You start. All right. So thanks so much, everyone, for joining me. I will recommend any DeWalt tool because I'm a DeWalt lover. I love the yellow decker. So I'm a yellow decker guy. So.
All right, you ready to do Willie Quiz?
Let's do it.
All right.
I just had to cover up and wear a muscle shirt tonight, so I didn't get all my muscles out there tonight.
Just not going to show off tonight, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to get all crazy. All right, so question number 1. Before joining KISS, Ace Frehley answered an ad, The Village Voice, looking for a guitarist. What was the exact wording of that ad's description that caught his attention? Was it A, guitarist wanted with flash and balls? Was it B, lead guitarist wanted, no egos? Was it C, rock guitarist wanted with heavy chops? D, guitarist needed for theatrical hard rock band? Or E, guitarist wanted who doesn't suck? Good luck, everyone.
Is this whole quiz going to be on KISS?
It's Ace Frehley.
Ace Frehley, okay. Because I actually I have. I'm just going to show how old I am. But back when I was in my 20s, they used to have a thing that was Columbia, that you would buy all your albums and things through. You'd buy so many, they give you so many free and do all this stuff. And it's not one of their albums, but it's one that they took and they combined everything. I don't know if you ever seen it, but it was called Double Platinum. And it came in a silver cover, had Kiss on it and everything.
Okay.
And when I bought that back at the time, they also
Daniel has no clue, so you're not copying him tonight.
Well, I know this answer here, but they sent a book in it, and I remember going through reading it, and it talked all about the rock band. I have that, and I got Journey, Loverboy, Boston. Anyway, they used to give these booklets that had write-ups that when you bought certain things, they would send it, and I actually have that. And
dude, I knew you were listening to Kiss when I was in diapers. You know.
Oh, Kiss, Detroit Rock City. I like. You would be wrong.
Oh, Daniel's going.
He's wrong. It's A. I've read this before. I know this one.
King James takes question number 1 tonight.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you were right. All right. Which Kiss album marks the first appearance of a song sung by Ace Frehley? Was it A, Destroyer? Was it B, Rock and Roll Over? Was it C, Love Gun? Was it D, Alive 2? Was it E, Dress to Kill? Good luck, everyone.
I know this one too. I think I know the song. I think the song was "Shock Me." It was the name of the song that was on this album. And
that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it was "Shock Me" or something. But the album is "See Love Gun."
All right, so King James is going C. Still no answer from Daniel yet.
He's listening to what I'm saying tonight.
We'll see if Daniel decides to copy King James and go C or... All right, so Daniel goes C.
Like James knows.
Let's see if you guys are right. We have a second correct answer for King James, and you are correct. It was Shock Me.
Shock Me, I thought it was.
It was based on a real time when he actually got shocked.
He was performing on stage in Florida when it happened.
Right. 100%. You got it, brother. You got it. You nailed that one. All right. Question number 3. Ace Frehley's iconic lightning bolt guitar logo was actually designed by whom? Ace himself, B, Paul Stanley, C, Sean Delaney, D, a fan who sent it in, or E, Gene Simmons. Good luck, everyone.
I know this one too.
So really, the only reason I did this quiz, I'm setting you up for next week. I wanted you to get 100%.
Back in the 80s, there were two groups that dressed up. And you know who the two groups were, and they became real popular? One's Kiss, of course. You know who the other was?
Guar. Duh.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
No.
I actually don't.
I'll give you a hint. YMCA.
Oh.
The Village People.
Okay. All right. All right.
History as we know it. Okay,
All
who
right.
did he go with? You would be wrong. It was Paul Stanley.
All right. We're going to have a challenge tonight. The trivia that I had said it was Ace himself that designed it.
No, Paul Stanley did.
I don't know. We're gonna have to red flag this one.
Okay, I thought it was Paul Stanley. Okay.
We're gonna have to
Let's
red
check
flag
it right now.
Yep.
Freely.
We have a challenge flag, folks. Challenge flag.
Challenge flag it is. I got to type it in.
No, just kidding.
I could have swore that was Paul Stanley. I could be wrong, but I thought it was Paul Stanley.
They said it was Ace himself.
I did not remember that. Okay, here. Let's see. Let me look. Let's see what we come up with. Okay, I'm typing that now. Okay, there we go. Let's see who they say it was designed by. Okay, here we go. Let's see what this says. Known as the light guitar. Engineered, rather. That's not saying it right there. Let me find another one. The
logo. Look, like, make sure you're checking the guitar logo.
Well, Ace Frehley designed the Kiss logo, but not that. That's
the lightning bolt guitar logo.
Yeah, Ace Frehley, like it's saying here, he designed the original Kiss logo.
Right.
And that's why I'm thinking, let's see, did you know Ace Frehley actually designed the original Kiss logo? Yeah, I knew that. Frehley designed the band's logo. Okay, well, it could be both, really. Frehley originally designed it, but it was all polished up by Stanley, and Stanley is the one that did the final brandishing of it and everything, I guess you could say.
All right, so you admit that you were wrong.
Well, no, because he did a rough sketch, and then it was Paul Stanley.
Designed.
That's not the design, because the design was changed from the rough that they had, and it was Paul Stanley that went in and did all the graphic stuff and everything that went with it. Because see, if you read here, this is Ace Frehley Wikipedia. Let me see if I can find where I was just reading that.
All right, we'll give you half a point.
Yeah, because if you look at it, that's why I was saying I remember him. Paul Stanley was the one that really took and did the whole finishing of the logo. I guess it's both of them, but
yeah,
Stanley was the one that actually redesigned, I guess, and fixed that logo.
All right, so, we'll give you half a point.
Yeah, that's what it's saying on the thing anyway.
All right, 10-4. All right, question number 4. On Ace Frehley's 1978 solo album released the same day as other Kiss solo records, which song became a surprise hit single? Rip It Out, Speedin', Back to My Baby, Snowblind, New York Groove, or Freely's Comet. Good luck, everyone.
Now, I sort of remember them talking about this, and the other ones when they released their singles too, or other albums. The thing that was interesting about this, because it was a surprise, but it was because he played it on his, they called it the light guitar, and if I remember correctly, I think it was New York Groove, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see what Daniel goes with. Daniel has been a little bit slow on the answers tonight. I think this is like a little before our time, and like I did it on purpose because like this makes it so fun, you know. And so looks like Daniel is gonna copy you and say New York.
Of course he is.
Let's see if you guys are right.
I thought so.
D is the correct answer. Yeah. So it looks like we're pretty close to a tie game by 0.5. Which unusual incident led to Ace temporarily quitting Kiss for the first time in the early 80s? A, he wrecked his custom Corvette after a studio party. B, he disagreed with disco direction of Dynasty and Unmasked. C, he was accidentally left behind after a European tour. D, he was injured when his smoke guitar malfunctioned on stage. E, Gene Simmons took a bigger cut than all the other members. Good luck, everyone.
Well, you've thrown me off a little bit on this one. And I'll tell you, I'll wait for Daniel to answer. I'm gonna tell you what
I actually just set you up. I just put you in there. I give you all the right answers, all easy. Then I just set you up for the last one and say, bam, boom, right at the end, you know. So
well,
I think there could be like 3 of these things that actually happened, like from what I researched.
Well, I remember when he quit. Now it was the early '80s. I mean, I just graduated high school and everything, and I sort of remember this, but I could have swore. I'm having to think on this for a minute because I'm not 100% sure. I thought I remember something about him wrecking his car, but I thought he drove, it was a DeLorean. I didn't think it was a Corvette. I must be wrong. For some reason I was thinking, I'm going to go with A regardless because that's what I think it is. Because I remember him having a wreck, but I thought it was a DeLorean. It might have been a Corvette.
Still real no answer from Daniel yet. You know, and the thing is,
He's still searching.
Yeah, so we have E, we have C, we have A, we have so I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know what Daniel's gonna say here. And Daniel could just copy you, you know, and just go, hey, you know, like, just maybe King James could take the easy win. You know, you never know. You know, like maybe that's right. And like I say, it's so funny because like the way I set these up, sometimes A is just always right on my quizzes. I don't know why. I'm trying to make more E's in there because, you know, Daniel actually threw in an E in there. So, you know, we'll see. But I don't know. You got about probably like 15 seconds there, Daniel. You're going to like forfeit
the match tonight,
yeah,
brother.
you know, let's see. He's still got a little bit of time before I do the. King James is wrong. The answer is B. He disagreed with the Disco Direction, Dynasty, and Unmasked. So Daniel gets an incorrect answer there, and King James takes the win, but we still have the tiebreaker. Daniel still could tie you and win. It would still be a tie, and Daniel could still win.
Okay.
Ace Frehley's solo album. How many? So this is like the closest guess.
Okay.
Like album sales. Like what was the closest guess of album sales did he reach with his first solo album?
Well, you're looking at the 80s, so
Yeah.
you know, not as many people back then and everything.
Yeah.
So I would say he probably sold about close to 500,000 copies, I guess.
500,000.
Yeah, I would say
All right.
500,000.
All right, Daniel, if you're out there, King James is going 500,000. So let's see if Daniel is still in the building. 0.5 million.
I mean, when back in the 80s, if you had $1 million, that was unbelievable. You know, you got over 1 million, you were huge.
Let's see if Daniel goes higher or lower than 500,000. And Daniel has the chance to take the win tonight.
I think he's like, screw this. These are hard.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Daniel's like, you know what? I'm done. These guys suck. I don't know. I think Daniel's over it. Let's see. King James takes the win tonight. Daniel is out of the building. He is done. He does not want to play no more. He is like, this is enough. You guys pick the topic that I don't know. And so now, where is the rigged? Where is the rigged? Like, nothing's rigged. So
All I want to know is how many did he sell?
1 million.
1 million. God dang.
Yeah.
I was sitting there because I mean 500,000 was a lot even back then, you know.
Yeah.
So I was
it actually exceeded all of Kiss's albums at the time.
Yeah.
So
I didn't remember that, but
Yeah.
I didn't mean to do that. Getting too excited to get going.
All right. So are we doing Man vs. Machine?
Yep. Let's roll it out.
For years, man tried to create artificial intelligence. On this segment, we find out, is AI smarter than King James?
Here's to you, Adam. Thanks so much for the Willie Quiz. Appreciate you, sir.
All right, let's see here. What is the question? Dwelling unit, hallway, 10 foot B.
So, this is kind of a softball for you, but let's just see what happens with AI.
Yeah, that's all. I was like, could you make it any easier for me this week? That's 210 52H, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going off.
I was gonna do a 4-year one, but then it was like all like there's conditions, and I was like, oh man, I'll get tore up on that one.
All right, let's share a screen. Let's see what it says. ChatGPT. There we go. Share. Come on. Let's kick it up a notch where we can see it. Everybody should be able to see that okay. So let's see what its answer is. 12 foot.
What?
And it actually gave 210 52H. It has it wrong.
What?
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
That would be
man.
incorrect.
Oh man.
Chat GPT. King James was right once again. Section.
Daniel comes back and gets the win. His internet was slow and he caught up, so he won. King James, so sorry, your victory was just
No. No. Okay, here we go.
Oh, look, he popped in, so he just got out of the Minnesota drunk tank.
There we go. That's thinking. It's going to say, yep, I was wrong. You were right.
I can't believe that.
Yep. As I said, didn't really, it's getting to where it doesn't even want to combat upset anymore.
Wow. I thought for sure that was easy, and I thought, like, well, it was easy for you, but I don't know. Dude, do you think that the multiple choice is like throws it off, kind of?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because, like, if you just ask a straight question, I think it gets it right most of the time, but, like, when you throw in the multiple choice, like, I think it gets confused and it thinks we're tricking it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I almost think, every time I see it, I'm like, wow, did it used to be 12 foot, like, before, like, in early, like, maybe, I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, maybe a
I
myth
remember
of the
it's
week.
been 10 foot.
Maybe myth of the week, if you have a hallway that's 11 foot with no outlet, does a tree make a sound when it falls or something? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
Somebody probably asked a question on there, and it said it was 12 foot, and they said, thanks for the answer.
True. Maybe. I don't know. It got it right when I did it on my computer, so I don't know. That's why I like doing it, because it's like showing that it's not consistent. And so,
Yep.
Kids, do not cheat on your homework with ChatGPT.
That's right. All right, let's finish Wall of Shame. We're going to get out early tonight.
Let's do it.
Shame. 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 Shame.
Shame. Shame. I love that.
Shame.
So awesome.
How dare
Oh,
you.
dude. So this is so crazy because they just ran like seal tights all the way up to this, and you could go on to the Wall of Shame group and just type in Tyler Nelson, and you'll see this picture a little closer. You can high def it and everything. Dude, this is ridiculous. Like, to me, I could have did this like way nicer. Like, way nicer without
Yeah,
being
you could.
like, that was just nasty. Like, look how all the sensors are like up, like in increments of a certain amount. Like you could just do it so nice. You could just make that far one like really short, and then do like just keep increasing them a little bit, and you can make that look so nice. Like the way they did it was stupid, or like possibly what I might have done is like come down with like straight 90s. And just straight 90 come out the bottom, and then straight 90 with the other pipes like parallel, and then just seal tie it in like perfect. Like you could just make the spacing all perfect, and you could make that like a super clean install. But I don't know. I every time I see like these wall of shame pics, I'm like, dude, we can make this look like so much cleaner. From like our experience and everything. Like follow the brick line, get like your like 3-inch spacing or whatever, like whatever the spacing is between those devices, you just turn your pipes at 90s at that spacing, and then just straight right in with
Yeah, that's just not good piping there. I mean,
it's
good
seal tight
installation. I mean, it's not good installation.
It's all seal tight, just straight to the
that looks like crap.
Yeah, I don't know. It comes into the wall of shame. And like I say, the reason we do that is we want you guys to be awesome installers. Look at it, say, hey, you know what? There's a way cleaner way to do this. And
yes, there is.
100%. Well, I really appreciate everyone joining us. We are really doing great. We're at like 435 subscribers, so make sure you subscribe. We want to get to like as many subscribers as you have videos. I think you have 530 videos. So we need 530 subscribers. Keep popping them in there, hitting the like, and making sure that somebody cares, because somebody cares.
Is he on here today?
If they have to come in and comment, they care. So,
I didn't even know he was on here tonight.
Yeah, they let him out of the Minnesota drunk tank tonight, I guess. So
really?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know they'd let him out. Man, that's amazing. You know what gets me? I swear, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares, but yet we're the only podcast where they transcript it and took it before the Standards Council. Nobody listens, but they go to the Standards Council. Nobody else has done that on any other podcast. So what do you think about that, Jeremy?
And
you're nothing but a loudmouth.
And they rejected what the code making panel did. A unanimous vote they rejected and said that the code making panel failed to substantiate.
You know what's funny about that? Jeremy posted that and told us the code making panel said you're wrong.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, he did. And look what happened. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It happened the way I told you it was going to happen, Jeremy.
The code-making panel doesn't have the power. The Standards Council does.
I know. That's what
code-making panel said we're wrong all they want. They could have a unanimous vote saying we're wrong, and guess what? Standards Council says, nope.
And wait to 2029. More's coming.
Yeah. We're getting them. I'm telling you what. We've been contacted by a lot of different entities. And they're starting to look at us to get some of their products pushed through where we're going to like comply with code and you guys don't have no say over it. So I'm loving it and I know you're loving it. I can't wait. They have solar products where you can install your own solar on your back porch. They have electric vehicle solutions where you could charge your electric vehicle by solar. Stuff like that. Different kinds of products that are really popular in Europe and other countries where they allow 30 milliamp leakage current and they work on those systems, but they don't work in the U.S. And I guess what? We're going to find a way that we can install them code compliant, and we're going to help these manufacturers get their product out there and be code compliant for 2026 NFPA 70, and I can't wait. I love it. I'm glad that they chose you. I'm glad they chose me, and we're gonna do it, bro. We're gonna tear it up. So appreciate it.
See.
Yeah, it's all because this podcast and us just bringing the heat every week. So thanks everyone for joining us. I appreciate it, and as always, make every day an easy day. I'm out. I'm gonna go watch
later, everybody. Yeah, time to watch some football. Peace.